Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel today to hang with me a little bit. Guys, today I'm going to give you some tips and advice on how to correctly set the hook with a spinning outfit, because there is a lot of different ways to set the hook with a spinning rod, and a lot of it has to do with a combination of things. It has to do with the line size you're using and the lure that you're using, and there's a bunch of different angles and techniques I want to go over today. And once you sort of understand this a little bit and you learn how to set the hook correctly, it's definitely going to allow you to land a lot more fish. So we're going to dig into that today. Also, guys, a couple quick reminders. I just want to let you know that Solar Bat has extended their sale on my Signature Series glasses, my RB2s and 3s. They had the biggest sale of the year this past couple weeks for our nation's 250th anniversary. Right now, guys, through the end of July, you can get them at 50% off. Definitely want to take advantage of that, and if you use the promo code RandyB, you get free shipping and handling with them. Got three different frame colors. I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description of the video if you guys would like to get that. And also, guys, real quick reminder here, I just want to show you, if you guys are looking for a really good bait cast reel, check out this KastKing ALTI Elite here. This thing is built for stout, almost impossible to backlash, 11 ball bearings, fits perfectly in your hand. Just a really good price on this reel. I'll have the KastKing link in the description of the video here. If you use my promo code Randy10, you get an additional discount. You love this reel, guys. I absolutely love it as far as just joy to fish with there. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit about spinning outfits here. You know, what you want to use as far as the hook set goes. And guys, one more quick plug here. I don't want this to sound like a commercial. If you are looking for an awesome spinning reel, guys, this is the KastKing Speed Demon Elite. It's got a 3000 series spool, guys, 7-to-1 gear ratio, super smooth, just like built for stout. Awesome reel, guys. Also, you can get it through the same KastKing link that you can get the bait caster. You can just look up the spinning reels in there. You can see this, the Speed Demon Elite here. So thanks for putting up with the plugs, appreciate that. Okay, now how you set the hook as far as the pressure and the angle and the actual mechanics of it has a lot to do with your ability to land that fish, because here's what happens. The entire process of setting the hook with a spinning outfit, there's some considerations. First of all, you have to consider your line size, because obviously with a spinning outfit, the lighter the line, you can't put the pressure on them. I use everything on my spinning outfits between 4-pound test and 12-pound test. And I use fluorocarbon. I use Seaguar and Vizex fluorocarbon, straight fluorocarbon for 99% of my fishing. I will use straight braid sometime on a floating worm, like 15-pound test Seaguar Smackdown on a floating worm if it's close to the surface. But for all of my other techniques, all of my finesse fishing techniques, like my Ned rigs, shaky heads, wacky rigs, I've got straight fluorocarbon on it. And based upon the lure you're using, whether it's like a slow bait or a moving bait like a crankbait, it requires a different hook set. So the consideration has to do with this. It has to do with, number one, your line size. Number two, the length of your cast, because the longer cast you have, the more stretch you're gonna have. So that's another consideration in the impact that you set with. For example, if you make a super long cast and you're using 6-pound test line, you can still set the hook hard and not break it. But if you make a short little pitch, you know, with 6-pound test line and set the hook, you might snap it on the same hook set. So that stretch distance has a lot to do with it. The next thing it has to do with it is the diameter of the hook that you're using, how you set the hook, whether it's a treble hook or a single hook. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run through how I like to set the hook on a spinning outfit based upon the lures I'm using. Okay, let's talk about single hook lures. Let's say I'm using an exposed hook, like a little 3-inch swim bait that has an exposed hook in it, or a Ned rig that has an exposed hook, or a jig head worm, anything that has an exposed hook. Now I'll be using a lighter wire hook. So when I throw it out there, guys, and I'm working that Ned rig or something like that, and I get the bite on it, when I get the bite, the only thing, and you're gonna hear me talk about this a lot, it's gonna sort of like be redundant, but you need to know it for each one. When I get the bite on that Ned rig, on that exposed thing like that, I don't set the hook. All I start doing is reeling fast like that. I don't even pull back, I just start reeling fast like that. And as I reel, that fish is gonna come to me, and if I keep reeling fast the whole time that fish is coming to me, it continually penetrates that little wire hook into different parts of the fish's mouth. So I don't want to set the hook because I don't need to set the hook. I want that penetration, excuse me, just from the, the constant reeling of it. Okay, now let's say I'm using a shaky head or something where my hook is buried back in the worm, something like that, where I don't have an exposed hook. Shaky head, maybe like a small Texas rig or something like that. In a situation like that, I've got to have a little bit more force in order to penetrate that plastic. So instead, I'll throw the shaky head out there and I got the bite on it, let the line get tight. And in a situation like this, I'm gonna reel down to the fish until my line's tight and my arms are extended. And then I'm gonna start reeling and I'm gonna pull back faster. I'm not gonna reel down and set the hook hard like that. I'm just gonna reel down and start pulling back at the same time. And a lot of times I may take a step back. So it gives me a little bit more force since I need a little bit more force to penetrate that plastic. But again, I don't wanna just set the hook like that. That snap hook set on a slack line is gonna cost you fish for a lot of different reasons. So reel fast and just pull back as you're reeling into it like that. Main thing with that is on those little finesse stuff like that, you've got to keep the pressure on. You don't want to let the line get slack is the main thing with it. And another thing with it, guys, and that's another reason I use the Cast King, is you want to back reel. I talk about this. I don't want to get into a back reeling video. I tighten my drags down on all my spinning reels and I back reel. Back reeling is the most efficient way to land a fish. So when you're setting the hook, that's another consideration. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your moving baits. Some other baits that I fish with a spinning outfit are, I fish all my jerk baits. I fish every Megabass jerk bait that they make except for the Megabass Canada on a spinning outfit, Megabass Whip Snake spinning outfit. And I also fish a lot of small crankbaits. I'll even fish some small square bill crankbaits on it, but if I'm using a crankbait it's like, an 1.5 inches long or less, a lot of times I'm throwing it on a spinning outfit because I can make longer casts and use lighter line with it. So here's the two different ways that I like to fish, set the hook on a spinning outfit with a jerk bait or a crankbait. If I throw out there with the jerk bait, I'm jerking like that, jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause. When you get a bite with that on a treble hook, most of the time when you jerk, the fish is on there. The only other time is like if you're jerking and you're pausing it for a long time, you'll see your line twitch. So if you're jerking it like that on a jerk bait and one hits it, you don't have to do anything, just start reeling it. If you're on a slack line, let's say for example with a slack line like that, you jerk, jerk, pause, and your line's pausing and it twitches like that, make sure that you don't set the hook when that line is slack, because a lot of times when that fish pops that line like that, a lot of people just set the hook like that real quick. And what you want to do is when they pop it like that, when you see your line twitch, again, just start reeling fast like that, because you don't want to set on a slack line. And also when a fish hits a treble hook lure, especially on a small diameter treble hook, they pretty much hook themselves on it. So don't actually set the hook on a jerk bait. Now with a crankbait, I love to fish a crankbait on a spinning rod. I'll throw it out there and I'm reeling like that. And if I feel a fish hit it, like if I just feel it gets heavy or something like that, or I get a different strike, I swing the rod sideways. I just swing it sideways and pull it and start fishing. I don't set the hook hard like that. I'm just reeling like that. One's got it and I'll start reeling it sideways. So I always want that fish coming to me, so I'm pulling into it sideways. So the difference between a crankbait and a slow bait is my slow bait, my rod position's up here and I'm just reeling fast. And on a crankbait, I'm just sweeping it into it like that and pulling it. So the gist of it is what we're talking about. And this is sort of common if you watch a lot of my hook set videos, is do not set the hook too hard, because there's a lot of disadvantages of setting the hook hard, and do not set the hook on a slack line. If you set the hook on a tight line and you set the hook with like lighter to medium force, but you maintain the pressure on it, you're gonna land a lot more of those fish. Most of the time, you're gonna lose fish if you set the hook on a slack line and if you take the pressure off the fish. That's when you're gonna lose them. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.